What if I told you that disappearing can be one of the most effective strategies for influencing a woman's mind? At the moment you stop chasing, cease communication, and completely withdraw, she begins to think about you more intensely than she ever could have imagined. It might sound ridiculous, doesn't it? Yet there is a fundamental truth behind this notion. The human mind is inherently programmed to desire what it cannot have, and when you vanish, it triggers a profound response in her psyche, awakening curiosity, anxiety, and even a sense of obsession. One of the most common mistakes men make is the constant effort to prove their worth. They take the initiative in messaging, continuously check for interest, and strive to remain relevant in her life. But here's the catch. This is the quickest way to become invisible in her eyes. When you are always available, present, and trying to capture her attention, she starts to take you for granted. Let's assume that you will be available whenever you wish. However, the real game will begin as soon as you step away. Women don't respond to absence in the same way that men do. When a man loses interest, he simply moves on. In contrast, a woman often begins to doubt herself. She wonders if she misinterpreted the situation. Meanwhile, he reflects on your relationship, trying to comprehend why you aren't showing her the affection that others do. As time passes, these thoughts grow more intense. Let's take a closer look at what goes on in her mind day by day when you become distant. We will delve into the psychology of scarcity, insecurity, and emotional triggers that can amplify her longing for you. Whether it's an ex, someone you've recently connected with, or even a woman who previously seemed indifferent. Understanding this process will give you a strategic advantage in any circumstance. By the end of this analysis, you will grasp why your absence can have a greater impact than your presence, and how to leverage this understanding to your advantage without resorting to manipulation, desperation, or games. Let's explore this step by step. First day, overt indifference. Let's be realistic. On the first day of her disappearance, she isn't likely to panic. In fact, she might not even fully grasp what's happening. Women are accustomed to male attention, and if you stop seeking it, she may assume you are preoccupied or simply being charming in your own way. At this point, she doesn't experience any real emotional loss. If she hasn't shown much interest, she might even enjoy the change. Yet, it is precisely here that most men make their mistake. They anticipate an immediate response. They believe that if I stop sending messages, she will notice right away. This is a misconception. Women do not respond to silence in the same manner as men do. A man may interpret it as a straightforward rejection. However, a woman thinks she still has control over the situation. She firmly believes that she can have you whenever she desires. Now, imagine a scenario where you send messages daily, always available and quick to respond. If you suddenly stop, she will notice the change, but for now, it doesn't matter to her. She'll likely just assume you'll come back. At this point, there is neither urgency, emotional trigger, nor sense of loss. Picture this scene. You're in a restaurant, and the waiter continuously fills your glass with water after each sip. You never think about feeling thirsty because the water is always there. But the moment the water stops flowing and your glass runs empty, you suddenly find yourself craving more. This is how a woman's mind operates when you disappear. In that moment, her cup is still full. She has no reason to feel anything. Let's assume that you return, just like all the other guys who tried to wait it out but eventually gave in. But the moment she realizes that you're truly gone for good is when the transformation begins. This brings us to the second or third day when she starts to notice your absence. On that second or third day, she becomes aware that you're not there, yet she won't admit it to even herself. At first, it's just a fleeting thought. He didn't message me today. But soon she brushes this idea aside. After all, men often disappear, and many of them eventually crawl back. Here, psychology plays a significant role. It has become accustomed to predicting your behavior. If you consistently reached out, inquired about her well-being, or responded to her messages on social media, she expected this pattern to continue. Now that you've stopped, things have turned unpredictable, and unpredictability sparks curiosity. She might even conduct subtle tests, perhaps unknowingly. She could post something online, like a selfie or a mysterious quote, merely to gauge your reaction. If she notices your presence elsewhere or sees that you're active, she will pay special attention to whether you acknowledge her. The moment she senses that you're truly distancing yourself, something shifts in her mind. Consider it this way. Have you ever misplaced your keys? Initially, you don't feel alarmed because you assume they must be nearby. The more time you take to find them, the more you start retracing your steps, checking the places where you know they aren't, and analyzing every moment that led up to their disappearance. This is exactly what's happening in her mind as she realizes that you're not behaving like the other guys. By the end of the third day, the first seed of doubt is sown. Am I misunderstanding him? He's losing interest. But then there's the key. She still isn't reaching out. Why? Because her ego won't allow it. She is waiting for you to give in first, and then the fourth and fifth days arrive, during which she starts to deliberately check her phone. By about the fourth or fifth day, she becomes more aware of it. At this point, she's not just aware of your absence, she feels it. What's most intriguing is that she won't admit it, neither to herself nor to her friends, and certainly not to you, but that's the truth. On the fourth or fifth day, she finds herself checking her phone more than usual. It's not necessarily because of you, but it's a general sense of anticipation. Each time she picks up the device, a small part of her wonders if you've reached out. And when she doesn't see your name lighting up the screen, a stab of disappointment sets in. This is where her frustration begins to grow. She had expected you to give in. I thought you were just another guy who would put in a little effort for a few days before losing interest. But now everything has changed. You're not following the script she anticipated. He might begin to scroll through old conversations, rereading your recent messages, or even checking the last time you were online. Not because she is still obsessed, but because she seeks reassurance. Reassurance that you're still interested, that you still think of her, that she still holds some sway over the situation. At this moment, a shift occurs. Instead of assuming she has your attention, she starts to wonder if she ever really had it at all. This small crack in her confidence leads her to think about you more and more, yet she still refrains from reaching out. Pride holds her back, but she begins to look for signs. Perhaps you like to post from another girl. Maybe you're out with friends. Perhaps it's just an accidental status update, anything that gives her a glimpse into your thoughts. And what if she... When a coin doesn't drop, genuine disappointment sets in. By the sixth or seventh day, the initial curiosity morphs into confusion, and confusion becomes fertile ground where emotions eclipse logic. On day 6 or 7, turmoil ensues, marking a turning point. She begins to feel the weight of silence. What was once merely noticeable now deeply unsettles her. This is where the truth lies, a truth that often eludes most men. Women despise the feeling of uncertainty. It isn't just about the absence of answers. It's about losing control over the situation. At this point, she had expected some kind of response from you, any reaction at all, even a simple like on one of your posts. But you remained indifferent, and this inaction stirs troubling thoughts. It is then that she starts to contemplate scenarios she usually wouldn't consider. Has he truly vanished? Is he involved with someone else? Am I not as important as I believed? It is precisely at this critical moment that many men make a fatal mistake: impatience. They think it has been almost a week. Surely she must be thinking about me. Perhaps I should drop a hint just to keep her interest alive. Yet, at the moment they give in to this temptation, they destroy all the progress they have made. The primary goal of strategic disappearance is to create an aura of mystery, to spark her curiosity, and to shift the balance of power. The moment you break the silence and start seeking her out, she emerges as the victor. She receives the validation she has longed for. Oh, he was just playing a game. He still desires me. Just like a house of cards, her interest in you begins to crumble. This is precisely why many men struggle in relationships. They lack patience. The fear of losing her is so overwhelming that they relinquish control the moment things become uncomfortable. But here's the key: if she truly cares for you, she won't forget you in just a few days. Therefore, remain silent, show restraint, and allow her to wallow in uncertainty. As this uncertainty stretches on, it will transform into something more powerful: fear. Fear that you are pulling away. Fear that you no longer care. Fear that she misjudged you. Around the 8th or 10th day, this fear leads you to a precarious conclusion: you have moved on. Between the 8th and 10th day, panic sets in. At this point, she is not just confused, she is frightened, worrying that you have truly left and that you are indifferent to her. Frightened by the thought that she had made a mistake by not recognizing his value when she had the chance. And here lies the paradox. Nothing has changed within you. You haven't uttered a word, manipulated the situation, or even acknowledged it. Yet in your mind you suddenly feel more valuable. Why is that? Because scarcity breeds desire. Think about it. When something is always available, it is taken for granted. But once it disappears, people begin to recognize its worth. This is exactly what's happening in her mind right now. You used to be predictable, constantly present, but now you've become an enigma. And this uncertainty makes you more alluring than ever. At this moment, she starts to take small actions to capture your attention, all while making it seem effortless. You can post something indirect, like song lyrics or selfies, accompanied by a mysterious caption. You might engage with one of your friends, or even send a random message, pretending it was a mistake, just to gauge their reaction. However, it's crucial to remain steadfast. The best course of action now is to respond. If you like her post, she'll see it as a victory. If she replies to your random message, she'll feel she still holds the reins of the situation. She's in search of reactions, not solutions. At this moment, she experiences an emotion that men rarely anticipate: a pang of regret. What if, by stubbornly maintaining this resolute stance, the feeling of regret intensifies? Between the 11th and 14th day, she may begin to ponder whether the chance of having you in her life is irretrievably lost. During this time, self-doubt will start to creep in, leading to a sense of panic. But this time, it won't be solely focused on you. Her attention will shift back to herself. She begins to ponder every detail, questioning whether her actions may have pushed him away, whether her qualities were insufficient to capture his interest, or if he has found someone else. It is at this moment that the situation becomes particularly intriguing, as your ego starts to take a hit. Most women believe they hold the power in relationships, often thinking that men will always pursue them, reach out, and seek to express their interest. However, when faced with indifference, this dynamic shifts. The silence that ensues becomes a potent tool, introducing her to an unfamiliar experience. Rather than simply assuming she is being awaited, doubts may start to creep into her mind about her self-worth and value. As she begins to question herself, Her emotions take precedence. This is a pivotal moment where she might test the boundaries of her feelings. She could inquire about you through a mutual friend, start perusing your social media stories, or even stumble upon an old post of yours. You might even attempt to project an air of nonchalance, writing about how carefree you are. Yet the reality is that if you truly didn't care, you wouldn't be occupying her thoughts at all. The more she tries to convince herself that she has moved on, the clearer it becomes that the opposite is true. She struggled to cope with it. Around the 15th and 17th day, disappointment evolves into something much deeper. She senses a strong need to understand her status in relation to you. At this point, your emotions overshadow your actions. The silence is no longer just annoying, it has become unbearable. In her view, this situation should never have escalated to this point. You were supposed to give in, to send something, perhaps a simple message or a sign that you still care. Instead, your silence has driven her to the brink of madness. Now, she is burning with the desire to break the silence, yet she is reluctant to appear desperate. Instead of sending a straightforward message, she tries to subtly capture your attention. Perhaps she will post a song that reminds her of you, or casually ask one of your mutual friends about how you're doing. Maybe she'll send a random, trivial message just to see if you will respond. But if she engages in any of these, make no mistake, you are very much on her mind. It is at this point that many men make a crucial mistake by biting the bait too soon. As soon as they notice even a slight effort on her part, they rush in, showing excitement that she is once again interested, and immediately respond as if nothing has happened. This is a significant misstep. She is reaching out to you not because she wants you back, but because she is seeking reassurance. She wants to confirm that she still holds control. The moment you make things easier for her, you will lose all the power you have built up. A wise approach is to do nothing at all. Continue to ignore her. Let her frustration grow. Around the 18th to 20th day, the desire to reach out transforms into something even more potent, the fear of losing you forever. During this time, she begins to worry that the chance to have you in her life has slipped away. At that very moment, everything shifts. The confidence she once held slips away, and her belief in having control crumbles. The silence transforms from a mere nuisance into a source of fear. Until now, she had clung to a single assumption. He would come back, but he hasn't returned. Suddenly, she is engulfed by reality. Perhaps, just perhaps, she had underestimated him. At this point, the woman begins to doubt everything. He has moved on. Are you happier without me? Was I not as special as I thought I was? And the worst thought of all, you're with someone else. You see, women don't just fear losing a man. They dread the idea of being replaced. The notion that you found another woman who captivates you more, who doesn't play games, who has caught your eye, that truly haunts them. Because of this, she starts to experience emotions she never expected. A sense of regret. It's in these moments that you may notice a shift in her behavior. Suddenly, she begins to check out your stories more often. Perhaps you even liked an old post by accident. She's searching for a sign that she still holds significance in your life. But when she finds nothing, that regret only deepens. Here is the translated and rephrased text. And here is where men often go wrong. They interpret her remorse as capitulation. Just because she feels the loss doesn't mean she's ready to pursue you. If you extend a hand now, you will set her free. You provide her with the assurance she has longed for, allowing her to stop fighting for you. However, if you remain steadfast in your silence, that regret will deepen into something even more potent: despair. From days 21 to 25, she begins to think not only about you, but also about her next move. During this period, she starts devising her return. At this stage, her interest goes beyond mere curiosity. She is formulating a strategy. She realizes a truth that has shaken her ego to its core. You are not the man she believed you to be. In her eyes, you are expected to be predictable. You should want her regardless of the circumstances. Yet, your silence and indifference dismantle all her expectations of you. And what's most terrifying is that she begins to believe she will never hear about you again. Now the game truly begins. Instead of waiting idly, she starts contemplating ways to win him back. And no, she won't just send you a straightforward message. That would be too obvious. Instead, she'll subtly try to capture your attention once again. Perhaps she posts an old photo from the time you were together. Maybe she unexpectedly runs into you at a spot she knows you frequent. Or she might act as if she's completely happy and carefree just to see if you'll react. But the truth is, if she truly didn't care, she wouldn't go through any of this. It's not about you. She's simply trying to gauge whether you've forgotten about her. It is here that most men stumble. They notice these subtle signals and think it's their moment. They believe they should reach out now. This is a mistake. She isn't trying to retreat. She's testing to see if you're still there for her. The true power move is to keep ignoring her. Let her doubt herself more. Let her worry that she may have gone too far. Because from the 26th to the 30th day, she will no longer be playing games. By then, she will be ready to pursue you. Between the 26th and 30th day, she will be prepared to chase after you. At this point, she's not just thinking about you. She feels your absence in a way she never anticipated. For weeks, she believed she was the one in control, convinced you would eventually give in and reach out first. But you didn't do that. Now she runs out of ways to cope with the silence. At first, she tried to ignore him. She attempted to convince herself that she didn't care. Then, she tested the waters, hoping you would respond. But nothing worked. And now she realizes something she never thought possible. It's up to her to take action. Pay close attention to what I'm about to say. It's at this moment that she begins to act decisively. She sends a message directly. Not just any message. It carries a weight that isn't vague or random, striving to mask her desperation. Suddenly, she seems to draw something out from you. Perhaps she makes a joke or evokes a fond memory, hoping to stir your emotions. She finds a reason to meet you. Maybe she needs your help with something, or perhaps she just happens to show up where you are. She becomes noticeably more feminine, softer, and shows you increased interest. She wants you to see that version of herself that once drew you in. Right now, her greatest fear is not merely the thought of losing you, but the reality of already having lost you. What do most men do? They become overly excited and easily give in. They notice her efforts and rush in, showering her with attention. In that moment, she feels safe once again. The chase is over. She has won. However, the men who truly understand this dynamic remain patient. They don't rush in as soon as she shows interest. Instead, they allow her to feel the weight of her own choices. They make her prove that she is genuinely ready to re-enter their lives. The circumstances have completely shifted. She spent weeks believing that she was indispensable to you. But now, she realizes something far more painful. You need her more than you ever needed her before. And that's when she truly comes back. This is the uncomfortable reality. Women don't miss men who are always available. They long for those they feel are out of reach. For too long, men have been conditioned to chase, prove themselves, and fight for attention. But the moment you step away, the moment you stop convincing her to care, that's when she will start to truly appreciate you. Disappearing isn't just a game, it's about revealing the truth. If she truly didn't care, she wouldn't let you go so easily. If she were indifferent, your absence wouldn't affect her at all. However, if she starts to panic, plan, and pursue you, that tells you everything you need to know. So now I ask you, have you ever walked away and noticed a woman suddenly acting differently? Or have you made the mistake of reaching out too soon and regretted it later? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's discuss this. I read every one of them and will respond as much as I can. Let's turn this into a conversation, because believe me, you are not the only one who has gone through this.